So actually, before we move forward, one other subtle thing I want to, and this will kind of draw the people in, especially if you are clever like I am, at least I try to be. I'm going to click right here on Fancy Text and share with you what I just did. I added a prefix to my text. So the prefix is think, and then these words are going to change. So think WordPress, think Photoshop, think Illustrator, think Dreamweaver, think Learn, Earn, etc., etc. And of course, the suffix would be at the tailing end. And I can actually, let's go back into that one more time. Okay, so again, each line is a different, and I can do a prefix and a suffix, etc., etc. And typography, you can set the background, you can set the prefix and suffix colors. I'm going to set the prefix suffix color. Unfortunately, you can't do them separately. So I'm just going to set that to a yellow color. So it's not that horrible black color. Save that and update. So what this will do for us, and again, it's just a good position, it's good branding, it's good marketing, it's good to kind of get people into the frame of mind for your product that you're demonstrating or the message that you're trying to convey. And since years ago I came up with this whole think process, because I think you should think about what you're doing before you do it, think, learn, earn. And I have a whole series of websites and YouTube channels, think Photoshop, think Illustrator, think, actually I used to have think Flash, but nobody uses Flash anymore. So if I update those changes, and I preview these changes, so now you're going to get something like this happening. Now this can be set up for, and the cursor is set, you can change the color of the cursor too. So think Illustrator, think Dreamweaver, think Photoshop, think Learn, Earn, etc., etc. Now once the loop is done, if in fact you want to, let's go back into that for a second. So here is my text setup. And you can apply CSS to that, and I'll talk about that in a later video. Okay, speed of delete backspace effects. Right now, it's there is no delay, but I can change this. Let's actually change this in 25 milliseconds. Okay, the back delay. Okay, that's when it's going back and changing. That's 1.5 seconds. Enable loop, yes. Show cursor, no. I'm going to turn the cursor off and save the changes. Now again, I don't want to do it in great detail, but those are the options in your practice time. I can't overemphasize this enough. Take the time. I've mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. For every 20 minutes to half hour of my videos that you watch, do not binge watch. As great as my videos are, you want to learn the stuff. It's not a dog and pony show. So for every 20 minutes to a half hour of watching my time-tested videos, which is typically about 4 to 5 to 6 videos, spend the next 2 hours making mistakes, honing your skills, taking it one step at a time, etc., etc. So now I won't see the cursor. So think. And it's just the way it, think Photoshop, think Illustrator, etc., etc. So now this is part of my one pager, so if a person wants to stay on this page to see what other messages I'm offering, that's a different story. But this is kind of a really cool effect, and the reason that this is set up differently because that's how I set it up. But if you do want this to follow the same branding, the same type of understanding, then do it first, get it all belled and whistled out, get it exactly the way you and your client like it, font, size, everything, then start duplicating. So I can't overemphasize that enough. But Fancy Text is one of my favorite things to use because it's very visual and it's really simple to do. So keep in mind that Fancy Text is inside the container. Then in order to show that image, you have to have enough height in order for that to happen. You can do that with a spacer, or you can do that with margin. Keep in mind, margin space is outside of the box, padding space is inside of the box, the imaginary box. Whether you can see or not see it, the box is there. So in the next video, we will go more into depth with other techniques using Visual Composer and Visual Composer add-ons by Brainstorm. Talk to you soon.